Hello everybody, welcome to Groove Builders, the one and only place to be building really awesome models on your weeknight. Just turning down my monitor there, I do apologize. Alrighty everybody, this is the official Metal Time live stream for the Elusive Nautilus for Groove Builders. This has been a long time coming. I've been working on this project for a little while. I've actually had one built prior before, and I was trying to get everything worked out with this one, and I realized I actually lost a lot of my footage, so I was able to restart it. Now with this right here, we've actually already done a large part of the build. I'm going to go through some of the things I've already done, and I'm also going to touch on some things that, as I was going, some things you might want to be aware of, just so when you get to this point that we are at right now, you'll be well aware of what to expect. Also, later on down the road, I'm going to be releasing a full video reviewing the entire model, and with that, I hope to be able to have some of the footage that I got of this particular one being built in there so you can see the beginning of that. And if you have any questions at any point in time in the video, feel free to leave a little comment there. I'll be more than willing to answer those questions. And of course, later on down the road, if you're viewing this later, you can also leave a comment, and I'll do my very best to answer you there. Okay, now I hope I'm all right. I hope that my voice and everything is at the proper spec here. I don't want to be yelling at you, and I don't want the music blaring too much. Now, if you are like me, you got something like this. This is the Elusive Nautilus package. Let me hold that right in the center of the camera. This is what it looks like when it comes in the package. This thing is really awesome. And just taking a quick look on the back here, you can kind of get an idea of what we're in for. Not only do we get a little bit of blurb of information here regarding the Elusive Nautilus, but we also get some information about what's inside the actual package itself, as well as the difficulty rating here. One thing to note about these particular models in comparison to traditional Metal Earth, or other 3D metal models I should say, these guys here are a lot more detailed. You definitely have to take your time with these models to get everything just right. Now, you do have to do that with some other models as well. These ones though, because there's movement inside, they do require just a little bit more patience and a little bit more detail work to get everything working the right way. Now, if you're taking apart your pieces, you'll be taking them out of metal sheets. Now, I've already gone ahead and taken the majority of our pieces out here to save some time, but one thing I do want to touch base on is that when you're taking your pieces out, every once in a while, you will be left, here's my example piece, you'll be left with something that looks like this. This right here is your piece, and when you get it out, you'll have these little burrs here on the edges. Now, these burrs are the enemy when it comes to putting together these models, because these models require us to have, again, a very high rate of precision to get everything working correctly. Now, when we look at these burrs will actually get away of that, will get in the way of that fine movement. So we need to make sure that these are as fine as possible. Now, on the propeller here, this particular piece, it's not so much of a big deal, but it can be, especially for some of our more, again, moving pieces like the gears inside here, which I will go through that in just a moment. I just want to clean up this little piece right here to show you how I go through and clean mine. I really want to make sure there's no edges on there. If I see any of my little white glove fabrics on there, I know that I'm still catching, and I gotta smooth it out a little bit more. It's funny. I'm so used to building on one side of my camera that I naturally go there. I'm not used to being able to build directly in front of me. It's kind of a weird thing. I think that looks pretty good. Oh, we can finish off a little bit more there. Cool. All right. There is our propeller. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the inside of this real quickly. I want to show you guys a few things. Now when it comes to building these models, there's actually one little bit of one little gear inside. Let me see if I can bring this right up to you here. There's a little gear right here inside. And this gear actually has two pieces that are sandwiched together. If these pieces aren't bent properly on their ends, what will end up happening is this little gear here will keep slipping and everything in here won't work. Now, how this should function at this particular point is as we crank this up, we should see all of our gears moving very easily. If you feel any tension, feel anything hanging up, that means that there is something catching, and you need to go through and figure out exactly where that is. This is the point where you want to make any of these little kind of fine adjustments that we need to make, because if we don't do that right now, we could really run into some issues a little bit later. Okay, let's do that. Just gonna try to squish that back end a little bit more there. Okay, let's leave that for right now. I'm gonna move this over here. Sorry about that. Just using it for a little stand there. Okay, now let's move on to our first piece. Actually, that was actually badly explained. Let me go back to here just real quickly. That little spring inside of here that catches, like I said, it's very important to have the two pieces exactly formed. If they're not, you will have some slipping. Also, what's really important is right here, we're going to call this the cassette. This cassette area here, you need to make sure that you have just the right amount of tension on it. This is a spring, and because there's a spring inside of here, if our little ends here are squished together too much, this will cause the spring to not move freely. And, well, this thing needs to be able to move freely in order to have that really cool movement. So again, this whole area here, it's really important to make sure that while the pieces are connected, that they're not too squished. I know that kind of sounds hard to, for me it's kind of hard to articulate, but it is a little bit of a feel thing that you have to kind of almost have the model in your hand to understand what I'm talking about. Now I'm going to go ahead and move on to forming some of our details. And for the most part, these details are pretty straightforward, but again, we do need to make sure that everything is precisely aligned. Okay. These right here. Just making sure of everything before I move on. One thing I always try to do is make sure that when I'm taking my pieces that I orientate them to the instructions. This way, I don't get lost. And also I don't make any silly mistakes. So like right now, what I'm going to do is change the instructions for you so you can see exactly what I'm doing. You can see these pieces right here. I have them now lined up on that bottom left-hand corner. There's a little gap right there. That little gap is illustrated just again on the bottom left-hand corner. We're going to make sure everything is kind of matched up. Now let's go ahead and grab this little back area here. Actually, before we do anything, yep, we are still good there. Now, one thing I should do right now is actually bend these propellers. It does tell me to do that beforehand. I'm going to wait. I'm using my tweezers here just to kind of separate the two parts that I have sandwiched together. This is going to allow me to get a good start on the tabs that I'm trying to bend over here. See, tweezers always come in handy. Pretty much all the tools that we're going to be using today have been on display on the camera since the start. For those who are unfamiliar with the tools that I'm actually using, the ones I'm using right now, these are the pliers that actually come inside of the Metal Time set. That's right, unlike other metal models out there, these guys come with their toolkit mostly inside of the box. Now mind you, there are other things you might need around your home to give you a hand, but the fact that they do come with your basics is always a nice plus. Okie dokie. I'm a little bit later than I planned to be today, I'll be honest with you. I wanted to take a little bit more time, but unfortunately, things just got away from me today, as they tend to do sometimes. Let's make sure that I'm correct here. Did I do this the wrong way? It wouldn't be the good start of a video unless I did it wrong the first time. No, I actually did it correct. Yep. I'm just going to turn it like this. Yep. Awesome. I am a little bit nervous with this one. I am really trying to make sure that I get this correct. Especially this back area here. Apparently not. Let's try this again. Okie dokie. You want to play that game? I will play that game. We're going to open this up like I should have from the beginning. There we go. And now I'm going to replace these guys back in their spots. The only problem is when these ones aren't secured 100% of the way, we don't have all the details on it, they will tend to fall out, just like as you saw right there. Way easier this time. Okay, just kind of straightening out my tabs now on either side of this part here. And what that's going to do is lock this guy in place, which is exactly what we want. We don't want this guy moving. All right, awesome. Okay, well, we got that little guy on there. Now we need to put our gear on, and this should add a little bit more stability to this whole piece. Let's go ahead and grab this little guy here. Here's a little gear. I really do hope everyone had a really happy Wednesday. Mine was crazy, crazy busy. Seems like I started the day running and just kind of didn't stop until right now, which is always a good time to take a few minutes and build some models. Just trying to not press these pieces too hard together as I try to get between them. There we go. Awesome. Okay. Flipping this guy around, doing the same thing. Now you could actually just go ahead and try to grab one of these guys and YOLO it like that, but I like to be a little bit more precise because, again, what I'm trying to do here is I want to get down to the furthest point of these tabs before actually bending them over. That way I know I'm getting as much of a connection as I can, and I'm not going to have any of this gear moving around while we are trying to get this thing to do its movement. I can't stress that enough. When it comes to these more detailed models, you really do have to take that extra time, like you did in that first kind of, when you first started doing metal models, and you really took your time with them because you really wanted to make sure all the detail was done just right. I still try to do that now with every one of my builds. I really do try to take my time. I like displaying them, and of course, when you get to show them off, that's the best part, right? I'm gonna tilt these guys like this. Cool. All right, now look, I'm gonna move this gear here. We got a little bit of movement, but actually, no, we don't. That's pretty solid. Oh, maybe a little bit on the one side. Let me just, that. A little bit more on this corner here. There we go. Awesome. Now that little back area there is going to move, and this little area here should move freely as well. Like, it should move pretty freely, and I'm holding it without trying to catch my gloves at the same time, but it looks like it's moving pretty well, so I think we're good to move on to the next step, which, if you're wondering, looks just like these. Now I'm going to just do my forbidden page turn over here myself. There we go. Excuse me. Now before I install this little propeller here into the back, I'm going to take a quick little sip of my coffee. Honestly, good stuff. Okay. Now that we got this guy here, we're going to bring her over and we're going to try to put this into a center. Now, there is a little area back here that needs to be popped out. And again, I can't stress this enough. We really need to make sure that we get as much of this as possible. So I'm going to take my tweezers here. I'm going right down to that little area and I'm bending it all the way over. I want to get as much of a 90-degree bend as possible, and I also want to make sure that this area here is perfectly lined up. If you bend it slightly to the left or slightly to the right, you need to go over. You might even need these guys here just to kind of straighten that out a little bit. All right, now let's go ahead and take this little propeller here and try to place her in. We're also going to need this little guy right here as well. This is step 20, or assembly piece 20, I believe. Okay. Now with this, we're noticing that there's a little ball here. I think that's important. So we're going to make sure that it goes into the wall. Okay. Just like that. That looks pretty good. Also what I'm doing here, I'm going to try to show you just like this a little bit. Hopefully that will adjust. What I'm also trying to do is I'm trying to go ahead and just push that in and try to form that a little bit more around that circle piece there. This is a good time to see if you got a proper form or not, and you can kind of come through and give a little bit of love there. Just be careful not to get any kind of harsh edging. We're also going to go through and round this edge here with our pliers. Hey, Dark Soldier Man, thank you so much. I really appreciate it, buddy. I hope you have a good night and a good day tomorrow. Thanks for dropping by. I love your work on Instagram, by the way, buddy. You do a good job. Now, unlike other metal models, you typically have little tabs that you're trying to bend and twist. With these guys here, you actually have these little latches that we're bending over. Now this one's a bad example because this is your traditional tab right here. But at the top, we have something that we actually have to wrap around. So what we're going to do is, again, we're going to press that into our model so we got an idea about how much we actually need to form. Just a little bit more there, it looks like. And what we're going to do is take this little tab, and again, what I like to do is I like to take the very top, bend the very top just a little bit like this, and then come down a little bit more and bend the rest of it. And I find that that really helps me get it into that little hole. See, I almost did it itself. But then what we need to do is we need to go inside and we need to secure these tabs. And the only way we can do that is by getting a little bit more of that little piece in there. I'm going to come in like that. Yeah, there we go. Push her in. Pushing this like this. Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Just trying to make sure all my lineup is good there. Again, I'm really hoping that this isn't too blurred out as I go through. I did get a little bit of love on that end there. I'm going to try to straighten that out a little bit as I do so. Just like this. There we go. Cool. Alright, bending that back, and then we're just going to clip it like that. Cool. Right, that looks good. And this little guy back here, good, good. And let's take one more look at the bottom here just to make sure that's nice and connected. That's actually really good too. Okay, now we can go ahead and sneak this little part in here. Let's go ahead and do that. Do. Wait a moment. I am missing a piece. I am missing a piece. Woo ha 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 ha. I knew I was missing a piece. I thought there was something wrong. Let me take a quick little look here. Excuse me just one moment, everyone. I'm going to put on my first, well, I shouldn't say my first, but one of my first back zooms. Oh, and we're back, just like that. Thank you all so much for that quick little intervention there. This is the piece that I actually forgot right here. So let's back it up a little bit. And I'm just going to put this over here. And I will bring this, put that right there, and that right there for right now. And I said I wasn't going to show you any of the actual pieces here coming out of the metal, but I'll show you how I do it. These ones are actually pretty simple to do. Just get a little bit of love there. Okay, just like that. There we go. Our pieces are out. And let me just see about this here. Oops, I am caught. Pardon me, everybody. I do apologize for that. Not cool. There we go. Alrighty. Now with these pieces here, I'm going to take a quick little look at them and see how bad the burr actually is on these guys before I go anywhere. That one is a little sticky there, so we'll take that guy real quick. Cool. Yeah, there we go. Alrighty. Anyone working on some really awesome projects right now? Anyone trying out any new builds of any kind? I can't believe that we got to see some Lord of the Rings action there. That was pretty cool. One thing too, actually from Metal Time here. So a little while back, before the world got a little crazy, Metal Time attended a conference, or attended a show. And one of the things they showed off in some of their promos was some of their other builds that are coming soon. And man, some of these builds look really cool, especially with the UFO and stuff. Like, I really think those are super neat. Especially because they're going to be moving. I'm really interested to see how they're going to incorporate the different movements in these other models as well. Even this one here, for Metal Time, this is actually one of their smaller ones, I believe. All the other ones seem to be quite big. I think that looks actually pretty good too. Come back here just one little bit. And am I missing a piece again? I don't think I am. Did I must have, did I drop a piece or am I blind? I'm probably blind. I am. There she be. Okay, let's go ahead and grab these guys here. All we're going to do is I'm just lining these guys up and I'm pushing them together just like this. And what's that going to do? It's going to create a nice little shaft for us there. And now we can take this little gear, which is a really nice thick gear. We're going to place it on this end right here. Slide her down. And just like we've done before, what's really important is we make sure that it goes all the way down. We want a really solid connection here. And again, we're going to take our tweezers and I'm going to take them and place them right there. There we go. And sandwich it right between them, and what that does is it splits the metal, or I should say it splits the two pieces that we put together, and then now I can actually get those tabs and push them right down flat. Again, I can't emphasize this enough. Everything here needs to be super secure, can't have any movement whatsoever, and you also want to make sure that when you're securing these pieces, these little tabs here on the end, that they don't actually hang over too much, because again, this is going to be moving around, and those little tabs there, you don't want them actually catching on anything. That's why it's super important to make sure that they are super flush, but also hold the gear in place. And you do that by grabbing as much of the tab as possible before bending it down. Said I always get a little anxious when I'm building these bigger models. I gotta say, whether it be Metal Time here or it be Time for Machine or any of these other builders out there, these bigger kits, these ones are always a little bit more a test of your skill as well as your patience. It's because they require so much more out of you. But that being said, taking the time and patience to do these ones, the payoff is really awesome. I mean, these models really do stand out in your collection, especially because of what they are able to do. I mean, they don't just sit there, right? Like some of the other models that are there. Not that those are bad choices either. I'm just saying that these ones here, the added features to them definitely make them cooler. There we go. Nice and flat. And again, coming back here, just make sure everything is nice and secure. Again, moving them around, looks good, looks good, looks good, nice and solid. Let's get back to this guy here. Move this guy out of the way. There we go. Now let's line everything up. Oh, did I actually bend that incorrectly? I'm not too sure. No, I didn't. Okay, we got that one correct. All right, now that we got this guy here, we're going to go ahead and just place this right here. Where's our tweezers? There they are. And we're going to bring this little gear and back her into that little space that we bent up a little bit earlier. Now, I'm going to be honest with you guys. This is actually the problem that I had in my last build. If you remember a while ago, I actually put a video out there because I try to be, again, I honestly try to be as transparent as possible when it comes to 3D metal models and this hobby. It's a small hobby, guys. Like, it's a small hobby. I know when everyone gets in it the first time, they all think it's really awesome. And again, it is an awesome hobby. Let's get real, guys. This is a wicked hobby. But unfortunately, it's a small one. So there's not a whole lot of companies out there that are building models, one. Two, sorry, I gotta concentrate just for a second, and then I'm gonna go back to my tangerine. And there we go. Should have maybe done that there first. I'm gonna bend that guy back just a little bit. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get this guy into its circle, and I don't want to bend the gear. It's super important. This part right here is just so important, and again, I'm going to go back to my tangerine here in a second about why that is, about transparency in our industry. No, I don't want to accidentally break this. Okay, we're going to do this. Bring her back. Can I bring her back? Or am I already too far committed? Can't do it, Captain. She just won't do it. Oh, no, she's good. She is good. We have connection. We have connection. Do we have movement, though? Negative. Okay, so this is the issue that I ran into last time. So what was happening? Well, I found that the gear here in the back was actually stopping the entire movement from working. And it took me a long time to figure that out because I thought originally there was something else up here getting caught, but what it was the tension from back here was actually causing the tension up here. I learned a lot, man. I learned a lot, and that's because we make mistakes, and that's how we learn things. But getting back to transparency, with our industry being so small, it's super important for everyone to know what is actually good, what isn't good. Because again, with our industry being so small, we want it to flourish. We want this to continue. We want this to be, or at least I do. I really want this industry to really kick off and become something awesome. And I know that when that happens, we're also going to be rewarded by, you know, having cooler models to build, way more detailed stuff to build, and like this is really just the start. Like if you look at our industry, right? So saying what's acceptable and what's not, and saying what's good and what's not is super important to us. I think right now, especially in our early phases. And shilling's not going to get you anywhere. Let me just do these. All right. Now what? Before I move on, what's being caught here? Okay, it looks like that little eye that we bent up is actually bent slightly on the left. Like I told you, if it's slightly bent at all, it will catch. And it is right now. So maybe if I work that out a little bit more, we can get some movement. Oh, see? You just gotta get it straight. Yeah, there's got to be a better way of doing that. I think if I would have actually, if I would have put this in first here and then installed this piece, I would have avoided a lot of the struggle I just had there. So if you're watching me and you're wanting to do this yourself, I really do recommend actually installing this piece second after putting this guy in. That way you can get that little eyelet down there lined up properly, and you don't have to struggle like I just, you don't have to ride the struggle bus like I just did. Let me just do this here to make sure that we are moving. I really don't want any catching. Okay, where am I catching? I want free movement. I'm wondering if right here needs to be more bent. What am I getting caught on? Sorry everyone, it's not always the most thrilling when it comes to live streams, but you do get to see how we work out our problems, and hopefully this is the stuff that you will find super useful. I just need to get a little better about describing my way of thinking here. So what I'm doing again is just kind of making sure that everything is lined up. It looks like my little brace here is slightly bent to the right. So I'm going to try to kind of manipulate that a little bit more. And again, I'm going to try to push this detail out here. And that should hopefully give the gears the space they need to move. Oh, that's... See, look at that, guys. Like, it just takes a little bit of work, and look at... If you remember, we were just barely able to turn that, and now it moves perfectly. That's awesome. Okay, now that we got that, let's move on to the next little part. We're just going to be adding some more little details and jazz, which is going to be entertaining. This right here is a weight. This weight here is going to help us drive the whole mechanism. And these guys right here are kind of like the hull braces, if you will. It's going to help give the whole thing its shape. Now, the important thing again here is to ensure that you're putting these in the proper spot. You will see that one is smaller than the other. They do look a lot alike. However, again, one is smaller than the other. The small one goes in the front. I'm just kidding. It goes in the back, you silly goose. That's why it's small. See, you wouldn't put it big. You're silly. Anyway, yes, this guy here we're going to put towards the back. And we're also going to make sure that the little guys here, again, don't interfere with that little bit of work that we just put in. Now let's go ahead and just try this out here. Perfect. Let's go ahead and grab this guy here. Almost like it was designed for it, right, guys? There we go. Awesome, 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 awesome. That looks great. Okay, now it's all about securing these little guys in place. But before we do that, let's go ahead and insert this little weight here. Just because we learned from that last little bit there that it might be a good idea for us to actually install the stuff that has to be squeezed in before actually, doing anything else. Let me take one more look at this weight here before I move on, just to make sure that everything is as flat as possible. It looks like my tabs here on top could get a little better. Let me see if I can get it to focus there for a second. You know what? There's a lot of yellow light there. Let me see if I can make that a little better. Oh, let's take the yellow out. Let's get some more white light there. It's more blue, actually. There we go. Does it look any better? I think it looks a little better. Okay. You can kind of see there what I'm talking about. Each one of those little edges needs to be just to be as straight as possible. Cool. Now my plan in the future here, guys, as we progress with these live streams, is I want to get some really cool interactive stuff. I'm going to try to see if I can get some really neat graphics going, and I don't know, maybe I'll get like a shoot a monkey something, and I'll have like a monkey appear on screen or something. I don't know. I got to figure it out. But I promise it'll be fun. Also, too, I want to work on some games and stuff. I think we can have some fun with that, especially when we're building these long builds like this. Also, I think I'm going to start doing deals on these live streams as well. I was going to try to do one tonight with you, but I really want to make sure that the website that I have, I want to make sure that's a little bit better. I'm trying my best to upgrade things and get everything the way I want it to be. One thing to know, all the group builder stuff is 100% me. I'm doing my very best, and I've taken on learning all kinds of cool stuff over the last couple of years. I've learned some web development, I've learned marketing, I've learned advertising, I've learned all kinds of cool stuff, which I didn't think I would ever have to learn how to do digitally. I actually went to school for business a little bit, so I knew a lot of this stuff anyway, but or had an idea of it, I should say. But it's one thing to have an idea, it's another thing to practice those things, and to be able to practice it and be able to play with it on with this kind of in a fun way. It's been a really unique experience and something I would never trade, ever, ever, ever. Now I'm going to go ahead and just put this right here. I'm going to flip this guy just like that. There we go. Like these. Yeah, so that's why I did that. Good job. Let's do this. And we're going to make sure that that little small gear is facing towards the back. We're going to place that. Oh, of course, you're going to get in my way now, aren't you? I was trying to be nice and keep you in, but you don't want to be there. It almost feels like there's a magnet in here, the way that it's kind of pulling me around a little bit. It's kind of weird. There we go. She's set. Whoops. There we go. Okay. And oh my lord, I'm so close. It's so close. Again, I'm trying so hard not to warp the piece, but it's like right there, man. Come on, there we go. Yeah, we did it. Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. You know what? You can stay out for right now. You're not welcome in the club at the moment. You've fallen out too many times. Fallen off, champ. Now let's go ahead and just take this little top here, like I said before. We're going to bend that little guy there. And then we're going to bend it again. Let's go ahead and do that. Yeah. Push her in. Now, being very careful here, I'm going to actually put my fingers on the other side. And that is just to provide a little bit of support Now, also, outside of my own live streams, you can check out the Metal Time YouTube channel. Over on the Metal Time YouTube channel, they have full builds on there. They also show some of their show off some of their cool models. If you haven't seen what other stuff they do, you can definitely check them out. I would recommend looking at their website. They got some cool stuff on there. Do that. Awesome, awesome, awesome. And I'm going to fold this over right here. Just pushing that down there. Awesome. I know that these ones are so much, a little bit different than our typical ones. Again, take this guy here, bend her down. Okay, pushing her down again. I mean, trying to be super careful here not to accidentally warp any of our pieces. This metal is thicker than our typical metal. However, you would think it would be a little harder to warp. It's actually pretty easy to do. As you've seen, I'm just handling it. I've already bent these tabs down here, and I've barely done anything. Okay. I want this to be flatter. There we go. And also, I want this to be a little better too. I don't like how that tail. I don't like how this tail is warping. I think I was a little bit overexcited there, and I kind of went a little too hardcore on my bend before bending the rest of the piece. So now I'm gonna have to play the game. See, perfect graphic moment. Perfect graphic moment. I should get a little subreddit going, and if any of you guys wanted to make some really cool stuff. I wish I was really talented on the whole Photoshop stuff. I got basic Photoshop skills. All my pictures that I take are all really just from my phone. I try to emanate the environment as much as possible, and then just take the picture. That way, when I go to post it, most of the pictures I take are just raw pictures. There's no filters or anything posted with them. I think in the earlier times I was using Ludwig just to kind of like pop out my photos a little bit more, but I haven't used a filter in quite some time, I don't think. So like this, I'm putting a little bit of pressure here just to make sure that this is inside the proper spot here. Okay. Go. Same with this guy here. Again, with these ones, you're kind of riding the line between how tight you want to put them, because again, these pieces are kind of straddling that one gear that's a little finicky here. So too much, and you might run into an issue. So we're gonna test this little movability here after we install all of our pieces. We're actually pretty close to the end of this build, believe it or not. We only have a little bit of detail a little bit of detail to go here. I love how, with the live streams, unlike when I'm actually doing this, recording it myself, I don't get to fix my horrible English skills every once in a while that I tend to have. See, just got away from me there too. Let me take a little sip of coffee here. Okay. Alrighty. Now that we've gone ahead and put this inside, we actually need to move on to our next step here. I do apologize. I forgot to switch us over. Again, guys, I'm still getting used to this whole thing. But just so you can understand what I just did there, You can kind of see how I had those two smaller bits, which are right here and right here. These two guys, these are the two I just installed. Those two ones are then accompanied by this little weight. Now if you look here, I'm moving this weight, and you can see that those little gears there are all moving. So in theory, if I move this, I should see movement through all of my pieces. Like, see? Oh my gosh, guys, this is great. Let me just see if I can turn this. Now, oh my. Okay. So, again, you can see where the hang-up is happening. Oh, that was so cool. Okay, let's just put a little bit of pressure here. And we're going to put a little bit more right there. Check our gear placement here. So if this gear is all the way that way, if I take my tweezers and push that little guy this way, we might have a better journey. Oh, she's so close. Oh, man. What's catching? See, I know where it is too. It's just real back here, right here. I think it's getting caught on the metal right there. It is. Okay. So, see, it wants to go. That's so cool. Okay. Again, we're going to keep working on this right here. Now, I am going to only do this for a little bit tonight. I'm going to show you guys this particular part. Now, my point, I want to do a little bit of about 2 hours per these live streams, so these don't go too crazy. Now, whatever we don't finish tonight, guys, we're going to finish tomorrow. And yes, we're going to do it during the day because your little boy here is off. So we're going to be rocking this tomorrow and getting this built really, really cool. Just in case I don't finish it up tonight, I do want to finish it up tonight, but sometimes when it comes to tinkering with these things, it can take a little bit longer. And to be totally honest with you, I would rather do this right and have this done the right way and have it working and looking really awesome than, you know, kind of following a perfect timeline, if you will, on the live stream. More important that we get the build done right. So let's take a look at this together. So what's happening right now is I'm getting a hang-up. The hang-up is happening because of this gear right here. This little guy is the same actual problem that I had with this one right here, but I was unaware. Ooh, don't look. I was unaware that this right here was going to be the issue, and because I took this apart so many times, and I also lost the footage, I wasn't able to get to where I wanted to with that one. So this one here, I want to make sure that I get completely as perfect as possible. Also, too, there's some really good builders out there, and I gotta show my chops. Okay, what I'm doing right here is just kind of playing with the gears. I want to see that front moving. You can see how the front nose is moving there. That's a good sign too. It means that everything is moving freely as of right now. But then when I go to move it again, you see, I'm wondering if maybe it's a area thing here. Do you see anything? Yeah, because if I move, it seems to be. Huh. Is it my eyelet? It might be my eyelet. Well, give me a moment here. Let me just take a quick little moment here to take my coffee break. We're running low on the think juice, people. Alrighty. This is perfect music for this. I mean, great music. It's like elevator lobby music as I'm trying to figure out how to get this to work perfectly. Alright, so what I'm trying to do here is I think that what I'm having is there's a little bit of a catch that's happening right here. I'm trying to see like the weight is not the issue because the weight seems to be moving freely. The weight moves freely and the gear like this wants to move. See, I don't want to break it either, put too much tension on it. So I'm being kind of, again, I'm kind of playing around with it a little bit to see if everything is not perfectly lined up, you're going to have this issue. It looks like my eyelet is a little bit bent backwards, and I think that that could be the issue. So I'm going to get my little pliers in here, or my tweezers in here, and try my best. Yeah. It looks like that eyelet is an issue. So what I might have to do is I might have to take this apart and get that eyelet sorted out first and then install it properly. So I think what I did was when I actually installed that piece and I pushed this forward, it actually warped that eyelet. And because it warped that eyelet, I am now having issues with it lining up perfectly. And like I said before, the smallest bit of warp can actually cause these things not to work properly. So it's super important to pay attention to those details. I'm trying my best here to see if I can push up that middle there, push up that middle there, and then push down, back. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh, groovers. Yes. Woo! That's amazing. Oh my lord. Like I mean, I know you guys don't understand the struggle sometimes on this one, but that, woo, I was sweating. Now, did I just count my chickens before they hatch? Let me just check. No, we're rocking. We are rocking. Oh yes. Groovers. Oh, that is delicious. And like again, I just, isn't it beautiful? Like just like okay guys, seriously, like just look at this. Just, I don't know. Maybe it's maybe my ADHD here, guys. I don't know, but like look at those gears moving. Just take a second here. Oh, look at this. Isn't that amazing? Oh, that's so cool. So again, if you're having issues with this moving, my guys, or my ladies, my builders, I'm telling you, this is matter of just the little eyelet there. I wonder. Oh my gosh. I wonder. Oh man. I can't take this apart again, but like, oh, that's so cool. Okay. Let's ground ourselves for a moment. I'm just very excited that I got this to go. super excited about that. Super excited. Actually, let me just go ahead and put this right here. Let's move on to our next step. Like I said, I wanted to. We're going to rock it, so let's go ahead and do it. The next step has us actually putting on some simple detail and also putting on the little propeller here in the back. Let me just go ahead and do the forbidden page turn here, guys. Excuse me. Okay, now the first thing we're going to do is grab our first brass piece of the build right here. There we go. Cool. Now we're going to take our little guy right here to the side. And we're just going to match this up as best as we possibly can. Oh, I see what I did there. Oh, my boy. Well, I think we're too far now, my friends. Okay, so as always, Disorderly Cone is as transparent as possible, and we have reached a part in our build where we can't actually fix the trouble that we have. So, what we're going to do is we're going to wait on this particular detail, and I'm going to explain why right now. Now this comes back to a piece that I don't actually have displayed, and I don't have it in my graphics, so I will have to show you what I did wrong. My friends, I installed, I'll show you here and then I'll try to find the instruction piece actually, probably better to do that. Yes, right here. Actually, right here you can see that we have a little line. That little line on this one part is super important. You see, that little line actually helps this part right here go in. There is a cut on either side. There's one here on the bottom, and there's supposed to be one right here. Unfortunately, it's located on the bottom of our submarine now, so there's a problem here, my friends. We actually can't put this part on. And now you say, well, Disorderly Cone, take this apart, put it together, right? Well, I could do that. And I should do that because you know, that'd be the way we should do things. But instead, what we're going to do is I'm going to pretend like you didn't see that. We're going to take this little bit of detail, we're going to put it to the side, and then what I'll do is I'll take this little guy and I'll either file her down and then put a little bit of glue and then hold her in place for a few seconds. Just for the record, actually, while we're on the topic, I don't use glue very often when it comes to metal models, actually pretty much never. That being said though, if you're looking for some good glue just in general, I use this for my 3D printing, 3D prints when I'm just trying to make something quick. Also for quick little fixes, this guy right here, this is some crazy glue. The thing I've been having the hardest problem with is that my glue dries up. I'll use it once, right? Like you go out and you buy the dollar store stuff, you use it for 5 seconds and then it dries up. This stuff here, I've had for a few months, and it's still liquid. You can actually see I've barely used it at all. But like this stuff here is really, really good. It's great for PLA, great for 3D printing stuff, but also really good for metal here, which is again good stuff. So I highly recommend it. If you're going to pick something up, pick a little bit more. Get this bottle so you don't have it dry up and you can use it a couple more times as opposed to getting the dollar store stuff which dries up super quick. Also, if you want to be really pro, they have needles that you can purchase at your hobby store. Maybe I should get some of those on mine. And what you do is you have a little guy here, you open it up, you put the needle on top, and what that allows you to do is have really good control over how much of the actual super glue you're putting onto your model. So if you don't want any of that little white stuff gathering around on the edges, that's a really good way to avoid that using those little needles. Okay, now that I've explained my failures in this build, let's go ahead and move on to some other parts that are a little less of a fail. There we go. Okay. There we go. Now this piece here, I need to wrap these guys around. This is going to secure these in place, so we're just going to twist these guys just like this. Like this. Oh, you know what? While I'm bending this simple part here, I'll give you guys a little bit of a Minecraft update. So, some of you know that I have been playing Minecraft with the old girlfriend. Got her introduced to the video games, you know, myself being a big gamer. And so we started playing the old Minecraft. And what a game to get her started on, right? Loves it. We're having a great time. We have our own world. I've talked about it a little bit before. It's called Pandaland. And doing all kinds of cool things. You know, your typical pixel art, doing all the iron farm. We got all that stuff rocking away. We're doing really good there. And so what we've been doing in the last couple of times we've played is trying to get the Wither Skulls. And I think we're ready for our first boss fight because the last night, we're not ready yet, but last night we achieved something that was almost felt like unachievable. We found 3 Wither Skulls. Yes, my friends, we are almost ready to fight the Wither. I am super excited. We can get ourselves a beacon and rock ourselves to the end. It's going to be a good time. Who knows? Maybe I'll put a little live stream somewhere, or put a little video up somewhere of us trying to defeat the Wither. Okay, just kind of lining things up here. Pushing this little tabarune into its spot without trying to bend the part. Talk about hand-eye coordination here. There we go. Okay, now how am I securing this one? Just a simple little bend over? Yep, it is. Alrighty. Being very careful here again not to put too much love on those parts. Okay. Oh my gosh. So cool, man. Alright, so cool. Okay, so now that we got this guy all attached, all ready to go, we're pretty much ready to put the other stuff on, which is just the little tiny details. Let's go ahead and hide our failures over here. And we're also going to take our dapping set here, and we are going to roll our pieces. Now, it's super important here, guys. I get asked this a lot on not just on Instagram, but I actually get asked this quite a bit, pretty much everywhere. It's like, you know, where do I get my tools? How do I get my tools done? You know, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Like, I've had these tools for a long time. I've been watching the channel for a little while. You know, I've had this dapping set for a little bit. I wanted to cast it. I actually have some of the stuff here to cast it. I just need to get some materials to actually do the job. I have some of the stuff here. I'm going to try my best to cast these, but I'm really questioning if it'd be better to do them in metal. But anyway, the point is that you guys can purchase these online. They're everywhere out there. They're really, really good for helping you get some of these cylindrical bends. However, if you don't have these, you don't have to go out and buy them. You can find things around your home that can help you bend these different shapes. Personally, when it comes to this particular model, if you take a look at the size of this guy, you know, there's not really too many things in your home that might be cylindrical in this size. I'm trying to think of things off the top of my head, and I really can't think of much outside of maybe a rolling, what's it called? Why can't I think of the name of it? A rolling pan? No. Anyway, the stuff I use for cooking, when it comes to rolling out dough, I can't think of the word at the moment, and I'll hit myself later for not remembering it. But the point is, you're going to use that, possibly. Or a Coke can would also work. A can of soup would be a decent thing as well. Anything that can kind of get that shape and you can put the metal around, that's all can work, guys, and those things can be really useful. In this particular case, if we take a look at this this tool here and we compare it to the size of our submarine, let me just see if I can show you guys this. You can see it's a little bit of a similar shape. It's a little smaller, so I'm going to use it. I feel like it's cheating a little bit, but at the same time, understand that you guys can use these tools. You can use anything around you to be able to get these shapes. One thing to note, though, if you notice, like my tool here isn't big enough to be able to shape this evenly, which is a bit of a problem. So I'm going to do something that unfortunately you're not going to be able to necessarily see on camera. And that's because I'm going to use, above me right now, where my camera is attached, I have a bar that I use to hang my studio lights and everything on. And it's a little bit bigger than the shape I need. I think it's perfect for getting this long cylindrical shape. So for just 2 seconds, I'm going to reach up here and use it to shape and then come back down. So again, perfect example of me using anything around me to be able to get the proper shape. So let me just and I'm just going to do a little press-a-rooney, trying to make it as even as possible. And I'm trying not to shake the camera too much. Sorry if I am. And I'm just getting a starting shape. I think I did okay. I hope I didn't get too many hot spots. Oh, I didn't get any hot spots, I don't think. Now we're gonna roll it. Okay, come down here. Same thing, do a little roll-a-rooney. Okay, now we're gonna come into the center here. We're gonna press that little cutaway there. That's there. We're gonna press that into this tool as well. Yeah, I know I'm really shaking things up here, my friends. I'm really shaking things up. Okay, bringing that forward as well, pushing a little bit there. Cool. And again, when it comes to the front pieces here, these ones are smaller, so we can actually use our tool here, and we're gonna round those edges by pressing the part into our tool. And yeah, you're gonna have a little bit of a weird shaping going on when you get down to here, but that's okay because we actually changed the size of our tool. We go into the forbidden drawer here. Okay, and we're gonna take this and we're gonna do the same thing again. We're just gonna round that off. It's just really important to make sure that we bend every piece of the metal here. We want every one of those little tiny cutaways there to have a little tiny bend in it. And the reason for that is because when it comes to actually getting our proper shape, if all these are pre-bent just a little bit, it actually aids in us getting that final really nice shape that we want. Bend that little front piece here up, just like that. Come around here, just like that. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. So as I go here and just kind of shape some things out, you know, I thought it would be kind of fun to kind of talk to you guys a little bit about how I came across Metal Time, what the relationship is between my store, our group builders, and the shop. Because I know I've gotten some weird reactions from some people out there, which is, you know, I think kind of normal. Because they see me like, you know, I really do enjoy these models. Now, let me explain a little bit. So, again, me, I love the hobby. It's one of my favorite things to do to build these models. I think they're a great thing, and I really want to try my best to try to grow the industry in any way that I can. And one thing I love is innovation, and I also love seeing new companies come into our sphere. And so what I do is I constantly am looking for new metal model companies that pop up. I'm constantly looking on Indiegogo, or all the Kickstarter websites and stuff. I'm constantly looking for really cool DIY projects as well. Because I don't know about you guys, but one of the things I really do like to show off on the show is these really neat projects that we can build together. So I'm constantly looking for the next like kind of cool thing. The Moyo store is a great example of that. Those guys are wicked, by the way. Just for the quick little, a quick little shout out to those guys. The Moyo store is a really awesome group of people to work with. They're super, super friendly. And again, they love the industry. They love model making. Those guys make all of those builds that you see. Like they actually, the Moyo store asked for my opinion on some of those builds for feedback to like improve them. Because of the fact that they are just hardware, like they can pretty much edit them on the spot, which I think is super cool. If you think about it like a Metal Earth model, or even a Metal Time model like these, if there's an error inside of the design, you can't just take apart the model and change out a part. You have to go through and do everything. I mean, look at Time for Machine, right? Like when they did their little campaign there, they had a really hard time because some of their parts were not good, and they had to they had to recall them and give you extra pieces later on down the road. That was with their first campaign. Anyway, my point with that being, and even with my train, the original train, remember from Metal Time, or sorry, not Metal Time, no, Time for Machine, the actual gear housing in there, the wheels were engineered incorrectly. So if you ordered the Kickstarter, you actually got a model that didn't work. If you purchased it outside of the Kickstarter, you got the one that actually does work. It has the extra little bit of metal there to be able to have the actual wheel hit the ground. You know, I'm not saying you can't get your steamroller working, as you saw, mine works. But it could work a lot better, and it was just because of a small little design flaw. Whereas the Moyo store, these guys, they literally just take a piece out, they're good to go. Like, they just go in there, oh, this bolt doesn't work, okay, we go here, boom, boom, done. Which is so cool. I mean, that's a really cool way to run things, I think, personally. I think that's a really innovative way to be able to fix models on the go. Someone tells you something doesn't work, okay, no problem. But what's really cool about getting back to back on the tangerine for Metal Time here. So Metal Time had actually one of my little browsing moments there. I came across the Kickstarter for Metal Time, and I mean, like, when I say I came across it, like I think probably in the first 10 minutes of being posted. I had to have been, because there was the campaign had literally just started. They had it was like a pre-starter thing, and I found the company on Instagram, and I immediately messaged them and just said, hey, you know, welcome to the community. I'm really excited to see more metal model companies coming out there and making these really cool, innovative models, and I just want to say, hey, you know, welcome, and I'm really excited to see what you guys are bringing to this amazing field. And you know, the team out there was really receptive. They are really into this. They're fans too. They built these models first. You know, they were building these models. They enjoyed these models, and they took that inspiration and they made their own. And what I think is really cool about that is that as being a fan myself, being able to support fans within the metal model community, it's just really cool to me. I think it's really neat to be a part of this, you know, and not just myself, but also you as well. Like, everyone who takes part in this industry. I think it's really cool that we are where we are. Like, this is, in my opinion, like, I see metal models as a future Lego. And I know that's kind of like a bad word you should say. But in my opinion, like, these models have a big future. And all these companies coming together is just all part of it. And what I see right now is that we are at the beginning of Lego, and I'm the guy who's saying, you know, hey man, these are really cool kits. You should try building them every once in a while. And just being able to observe it is really cool. So again, I reached out to them. They're really neat guys. They were super supportive. They knew about my channel already. And they offered to send me out some models. And so I was like, hey, you know, I would love to review them. And they sent me out the Nautilus here, and they sent me out the Lifting Spirit. And you know, I kept chatting with them, and I really wanted to kind of like grow the store a little bit. I've been really wanting to do more with my store. You know, I work in construction. That's why I wear gloves. I know a lot of you guys know that already. And I would love to make, you know, this full-time thing, working in metal models and working in this stuff. I would love to do that. And so what I've been trying to do is try to figure out how to take my store to the next level. And one of the things I've been doing is reaching out to these companies, like I said, and finding cool projects. And Metal Time, you know, they really wanted to support me. And they did some, you know, they've done some really cool stuff. Again, like they sent me the entire line here, and they said, you know, you're awesome. Here's the line. You can stock your store with our stuff. And which is really cool. I mean, I'm one of the only stores in Canada that has their models ready to go and right from the company, which is so neat for a small store like myself to be able to have that opportunity. And you know, it wasn't a couple of months later, and the stuff happened in Ukraine. And not only do I have friends that are over there that are soldiers that I've served with in the past at the Infantry School of Canada and a few other places. so I had to hear that side of stuff, but also to have like business contacts and friends there as well. It brings a different kind of relationship down on things. And it's the same thing with not just Metal Time, but for Time for Machine as well. When everything started, I reached out right away and to offer any help that I possibly could. And I'm still trying to figure out ways to help in any way that I can. And that's what I really did think about that the whole Create Ukraine project, which was to try my best to try to show off to other people not only the metal model industry, but also these really awesome creations that these Ukrainian creators have been able, Ukrainian engineers have been able to make. I mean, this stuff is incredible, guys. And so to be able to support, again, not only fans of the metal model community, but fans that actually are, but companies that are supporting of our community, to be able to support them and try to support them, I think is really important in our tiny little community. So that's kind of the story a little bit there. I don't want you guys to think that like there's any kind of sinister thing. I have never been paid. I'll be very clear on that. I should be very clear on that, actually. Excuse me. I have never been paid. I've never been paid by Metal Time. I've never been paid by Metal Earth. I've never been paid by anyone to do any kind of promotion. The first company to ever offer me that kind of a thing was the guys over at the Moyo store. Also Crazy Toys as well. They offered me a little bit of a promotion code for a little while there. But it's something that I want to expand into a little bit more. That way that you guys can get some really cool projects, and I can also kind of support the store a little bit more. And get, again, I really want to grow this into something really awesome. I want to make a makerspace. I have a whole bunch of ideas. Because we don't really have that here in my area. We don't have a whole lot of makerspaces. There are a few, but they're very tailored to their audiences. They're almost little hipster joints in some respects. Not offending you guys, you're awesome, you know who you are. But like they're very purpose built, and myself, I would rather I'd like to have a place for modelers to come, but I also would like to have a place for people like 3D printing and stuff like that as well, because I really do enjoy 3D printing, and it's something I'm going to have more on the show. There we go. I think we have all of our tabs bent on the back. Let's go to our front. Kind of crazy too. I posted the Ukraine video, and I know I talked about it before, and I wasn't really going to talk about it again, but I feel like I feel like I got to a little bit. So when I created that video, I did it in one take, because I wanted to show, like, I wanted to be as genuine as possible with this, and show that like I'm speaking from the heart and not from anywhere else. And within, I think it was in 24 hours, I had multiple copyright strikes on my channel. I had my store taken down for copyright infringement. I had my Instagram account was frozen for about an hour and a bit, but all of that got taken away after a little bit of email back and forth. Metal Earth, though, I got to give a shout out to those guys, because Metal Earth saved me. And what I mean by that is those guys, because again, like, I sell their models and everything online. All of my stuff when I perform, when I'm showing, like, GB1 and all that stuff, all of that is advertising. Let's get very clear. Like, I'm showing off Metal Earth models in every one of my videos. Every time I show GB1 or R2D2, like, that is a form of advertising, and that's how I'm able to piggyback off of the licenses to be able to use those characters on my little skits. It's because, in theory, I am advertising, and therefore I'm piggybacking off of the Metal Earth license to show off their stuff. That's the way that I'm able to do that. Anyway, these guys here all had to have proof of that, and so Metal Earth was really awesome. They showed that I was an authorized reseller for my area, and they helped me out, and they were able to help me get my store back very quickly, which is really cool of them to do. And again, like, this is, when you have a small community, being able to support each other and stuff like this is so important. And the way that they were so quickly, again, that's Metal Earth marketing as well. Like, I don't want to put anyone on blast. I don't want to put anyone's name out there without permission. Just because, again, like, it's about respect, and I'm always trying to. I don't want to step on anyone's toes. But you know who you are, and if you're watching, thank you. You were really awesome, and I really appreciate it. Let's do this here. Pushing that last little tab in there. Cool beans. I did expect a little bit of an attack, to be honest, but just didn't expect it to be so quick. Cool. Oh, please. Oh my God, that is so amazing. All right. Now, my friends, let's go ahead and just move on over. We're going to be putting a little bit more detail onto this. And we're almost done here. We only have a few more pieces. I'm going to go ahead and do the forbidden page turn. Okay. Now, with these pieces here, there is something I do want to speak about. And that is, because of where these pieces are going, and they're going to be going into the little back area here. It's super, super duper important that we make sure that we bend these as best as we possibly can. If we accidentally bend something incorrectly here, that could get in the way of that gear moving, and that would stop all of the movement, and that would take away all the work that we have done so hard, or the way that we've tried so hard to do. I'm going to put one of these fins on, my friends, and then I think tonight I'm going to call her and then start up this tomorrow morning and get you guys finished up. I don't want the last little bits of detail here to be missed, but at the same time, I don't want to miss timings either. We can also have a little bit of a chat tomorrow morning. I think it'd be kind of fun. One thing I really want to do is start showing off some of your builds, and I plan to be doing that very soon. I'm trying to work out how I can show Instagram off at the same time on the live streams, because what I would do is show off all the cool stuff you guys build every single week and do like a weekly roundup, and that's kind of like what I want to turn group builders kind of slowly into. I want to show off, obviously, do all the builds like we do normally here on the show, but then I also want to showcase all the cool stuff that you guys are doing. I don't feel like anyone's really doing that, and I really do get a kick off of taking a look at all the stuff that you guys are creating every single week. Some of you guys, and a lot of you guys, are extremely talented. I recently found a gentleman on Instagram who does a really good job with these train sets, doing train modeling. That's not something that I've gotten into personally, but I will say, watching these guys like do their stuff, extremely talented. Extremely talented. It's really interesting to watch. And let me just flip this guy around here and make sure that I'm putting this onto the... Oh wait, this one actually goes on this side. And it looks like I gotta bend this part up. Like that. Trying to... Okay. I'm just trying to make sure I got this correct here. It looks like, yeah, okay. I thought this gets bent up, but it doesn't get bent up just yet. It gets bent down up a little bit later. And that's important. So I'm going to push that like this. Get in the way of the detail. This little guy right here gets bent back up like that. There we go. There we go. Cool. And again, bend this like this, and we're going to bend that back a little tab down as well. Okay. All right, my friends, I'm going to leave us there for right now. Tomorrow morning, we'll finish up this little guy right here, and I also want to go through some stuff with you as well, where we'll finish up a little bit of brass detail, we'll go through the whole workings of this whole thing, and maybe we'll even go through some of your creations. Groovers, I really enjoyed you guys hanging out with me tonight and building and listening to my rants. I know I got quite a bit of tangerines, but I really do enjoy building with all of you. And if you guys, again, have any questions about anything you saw here today, do me a favor, please leave me a little bit of a comment down there, and I'll do my best to get back to you. If you enjoy this live stream, do me a giant favor, go ahead and press that like button. And also, if you want to be with me with more builds, press subscribe as well, as we've got all kinds of really cool content coming on in the future, like the continuation of this build, and also this really cool chameleon made completely out of hardware. I know, right? I can't wait for that either. But until next time, Groovers, keep building.